Good morning. It's my honor to welcome all of you, students, alumni, staff, parents, and friends, to the 6th Annual Old Brentonian Awards. While our ceremony may have changed to a virtual one this year's recipients are truly exceptional, and their service and achievements are of the highest caliber, and we are so proud of them and to be part of the Brentwood family. In fact, they are some of our best living examples of Brentwood's values of grit and joy. Today on campus, our students have just participated in the annual Careers Day ceremony. 26 Old Brentonians volunteered their time to virtually visit our classrooms and share their career journeys. As the students reflect on what they've learned from these amazing alumni, who knows, perhaps some of them will be paying it forward to future Brentonians. I encourage our students to pay special attention to this year's award winners, as they will each share a special message to the students on lessons learned and wisdom gained that they can take forward on their journeys. The Old Brentonians Executive, our dedicated group of alumni volunteers, spent many months soliciting nominations, reviewing the nominees, and selecting this year's recipients. I then have the great honor of calling each award winner to inform them of their selection. It's amazing how nervous they get when the head of school is calling. We thank the Old Brentonians Executive for their service and support. Special occasions like today don't just happen. It takes an immense amount of planning and executing. Please join me in thanking Jess Beausoleil, our faculty hosts, Mike Minkler and Ian McPherson, and finally the leader of this event, Amy Weinberg, Gwyneth House 2005. Her passion for our alumni and school are treasured, and we are grateful for her service. The three awards are the Extraordinary Young Brentonian Award, which honors a young Brentonian 35 years of age or younger for significant career achievements and service to their community. The Outstanding Old Brentonian Award, which honors an Old Brentonian for outstanding career achievements and service to their community. And finally, the Old Brentonian Lifetime Achievement Award, which recognizes an Old Brentonian for distinguished lifetime career achievements, someone who is a true master in their field, and whose selfless service and contributions to society and the world are truly exceptional. In addition to this virtual ceremony, our award recipients will be acknowledged on a national scale in today's Globe and Mail newspaper. We have selected three presenters representing the alumni, the faculty, and the students of today's school. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our first presenter, current student and our assistant head prefect in charge of academics, Maher Arora.
Old Brentonians, future Brentonians, friends, and family. It's my honor to present this award to Old Brentonian Sean Montero. Sean attended Brentwood from grade 10 to 12, graduating in 2015 as a proud Whittle House alumnus. In his senior year, he was the assistant head prefect in charge of athletics and the recipient of the Ken Creer Memorial Award in recognition of his inspiring athletic achievements. He's a Queen's University mechanical and materials engineer and graduate, and was named a Dean Scholar in recognition of his outstanding academic performance by the Faculty of Engineering and Applied Science for the 2019-20 academic session. Now based in Toronto, Sean is the CEO of social payments venture Bounced Inc., and has set his sights on drastically improving the financial payments and ticketing verticals across North America. According to his Whittle House parent, Blake Gage, Sean has always been extraordinary. Mr. Gage writes, from the very first day he set foot on campus, he had an aura of contagious positive energy that made people want to be around him. He was an impressive multi-sport athlete in soccer, basketball, rugby, and nationally ranked in CrossFit. He was a strong academic and an outstanding leader. His only fault is that he has yet to keep his promise to return to Brentwood and visit his old house parent. He should be warned that Zoe Gage is still quite upset with him for failing to follow through on that promise. We miss him a great deal, but are extremely proud of Sean and will always cherish the time he spent with us in Whittle. While studying at Queen's, Sean was an investment associate at Front Row Ventures, a student-led venture fund that invests and supports Canada's brightest young entrepreneurs looking to generate solutions to the world's most pressing problems. Additionally, he worked as a research assistant at the Kingston General Hospital, secured a patent in assistive devices, managed an array of student organizations, and played rugby with the Queen's Gales. Professionally, Sean's affinity for innovation was demonstrated throughout his time at General Motors and Circ Advanced Urban Mobility, where he filed 4 patents and 1 defensive publication to the USPTO with respect to automated driving and user experience. He supported GM Ventures in evaluating the promise of external companies, scaled Circ's Stockholm scooter fleet by 20 times, and helped manage Circ's Nordic operations prior to its acquisition by Bird. Among his previously mentioned accomplishments, Sean is most proud of and strives to maintain his 5-star Uber rating. Please join me in congratulating Sean Montero, class of 2015, as the recipient of the 2021 Extraordinary Young Brentonian Award.
Hey everyone, I want to start this off with a handful of thank yous to Mr. Patel, Mr. Gage, and the whole Brentwood community that basically raised me for the couple years I was there. To my family and my parents that continuously support me, to my friends and colleagues that continuously push me to be better every single day. It takes a village to raise a child, and realistically it took the whole Brentwood village and just a little bit more. But if we go back to the conversation where Mr. Patel told me that I'd won this award a couple months ago, I'm incredibly grateful for it. It was kind of interesting to see his name come up on my phone, you know? Mix of emotions where first you get excited and you're like, hey, I haven't talked to this guy in a few years, to, hey, I haven't talked to this guy in a few years. A little bit of panic, you think about the good, bad, in between things he did at Brentwood, but it was a pleasant conversation, and he told me that I'd have to give a speech to you all. So, as the previous assistant head prefect of athletics, I did about a year's worth of mediocre announcements, so we could say that I'm really well primed for this. So I believe this is going to be a little bit more non-traditional monologue for you, and to be quite honest with you, don't let the suit fool you. I'm the CEO and a co-founder of a fintech company in Toronto, and I have a BASC from Queens for mechanical engineering. I filed a few patents to the USPTO, and that's about it. Compared to a few of the alumni that you probably heard on the career day panels today, it's not a whole lot. You know, I don't have a PhD, there's no MASC, there's no MBA, and for what it's worth, I do like watching the NBA, but scratching my head to figure out what to chat about, I decided to look at what did I wish I had heard when I was in your shoes. You know, something that was honest, relatable, didn't feel like it came from a full-blown adult. My time at Brentwood was incredible, and I learned a lot that would set me up for success. You know, it was a little bit more nuanced, where the influential moments were things like making sure that my top button was done all the way, and I had a firm handshake, because that helped me get my first job. It was an attention to detail and confidence in my writing from Ms. Hedquist that helped me get a 96 on my English provincial and helped me all my career going forward. It was the time accountability that I learned from Mr. Emil make me do push-ups when I was late. That was interesting because I was late a lot. But finally, it was a little bit more of the appreciation, which you can call it, that I learned from Mr. Gage, where I didn't have to always take the easy way out of things, because he then banned me from doing push-ups for being late and made me start to do house jobs. And that's brutal. Like, those Whittle vacuum cleaners are terrible. But to kind of get a little bit more pointed, if we look at one of the words I used in that goofy set of stories, I used the word success. And by definition, success is the state or conditions of meeting a defined range of expectations. Wikipedia. Sorry, Ms. Reynolds. And what I want to be explicit about is that I believe that there's actually a miscalibration for a lot of my peers and the people I see around what that defined range of expectations are. Because if you backtrack to 16-year-old Sean at a Brentwood regatta, I'm probably eating my 5th beaver tail and talking to my mates about how cool it would be if we owned yachts. And while that is great, we all wanted to make a lot of money so we could buy shiny things. Fast forward to university, and I'm an engineer and I like numbers, so I'll give you 2. 5 and 3. 5 were the amount of engineering programs that I swapped in between, and 3 were the amount of emails I sent to Brentwood staff after my first year of university, saying that it was tough. Because as much as prep set you up to do well, there was massive dissonance between what I wanted to do, what I thought I needed to do to be successful, and what all my friends were doing. And I think that's really important to be aware of, where being self-aware of what you're passionate about is vital. And I urge you all to think about it as you go through day to day, because it took me a couple years of university and a bit to my first job to realize the things I did and didn't like. I caution you all to not always listen to those around you and take the path that's most often traveled, because at the end of the day, that's a shame. You all have massive potential, you're all incredibly bright, and you can all blaze your own trail. So I've seen it countless of times where my friends actually struggle to chase ambitions that aren't even their own. At career days, people used to ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up at Brentwood, and I always deflected and said something safe, like a doctor, a lawyer. Now, what it actually forced me to do over time was actually listen to what I learned at Brentwood and ask myself the tough questions, be honest with myself, and I actually ended up asking a little more spookier questions. Who did I want to be? What impact did I want to have? And while these answers were tough, and I'm still trying to figure it out now, it was important because that acted as my North Star as I made decisions, and I urge you guys all to do the same, because at Brentwood, I believe you are in one of the densest populations of high potential, high impact kids of your own age. But you're all different. So embrace it. I would say that with your passions are different, the world is changing and you're changing. Always try and keep your finger on the pulse about what you care about and what you want to be doing. And don't be afraid to let that change, because it can be flexible. As you go through your journey, try and help others and be kind. And if you do all that, there's no doubt in my mind that you'll all be successful. I just hope that having heard me talk at you for a few minutes now, you think about what your bounds for success are and setting those requirements yourself. Thanks everyone, and good luck with the rest of your day.
Thank you, Maher, and congratulations to you, Sean. You have a special place in my heart, mate. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our second awards presenter, Jessica Raziris Purdy, a third-generation Old Brentonian and proud Alex House member from the class of 1988. Jessica is also the co-chair of our Old Brentonians Executive. Over to you, Jessica.
Old Brentonians, future Brentonians, friends and family, it is my honor to present this next award to Old Brentonian Trish Dolman. Trish attended Brentwood from grade 10 to 12, graduating 1988 from Alex House. She founded Screen Siren Pictures in 1997 and is a leading Western Canadian feature film, documentary, television, digital producer and director. With more than 30 documentary and feature film credits over her 28-year career, her projects have won acclaim, awards, and have screened at various marquee international festivals. Trish's credits in 2020 include French Exit, a feature film adaptation of Patrick DeWitt's award-winning novel starring Michelle Pfeiffer and Lucas Hedges for Sony Pictures Classics, and Sony Worldwide, that closed the New York Film Festival last fall and earned Pfeiffer a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress in 2021. The New Corporation, the unfortunately necessary sequel, which premiered at TIFF and made the qualifying list for Best Documentary Feature for this year's Academy Awards. Citizen Bio, a feature-length documentary she directed about the subculture of biohacking, which premiered on Showtime and Crave last fall. Other recent credits include Indian Horse, an adaptation of Richard Wagamese's award-winning novel, which was the most successful English-Canadian film of 2018. And Canada in a Day, for which Trish won the Canadian Screen Award for Best Director Documentary, and was executive produced by Ridley Scott and inspired by Kevin MacDonald's Life in a Day. She's currently producing British Columbia, A History, a landmark 4-part historical documentary series for Knowledge Network, set to premiere in 2021. And executive producing Bones of Crows, a dramatic mini-series for the CBC, produced, written, and directed by award-winning filmmaker and playwright Marie Clements. In 2003, Trish was the youngest recipient of Women in Film and Video, Vancouver's Women of the Year Award, and received the Clicquot Ponsardin's La Grande Dame Women of Distinction. In 2010, she was named one of the 100 most influential women in British Columbia by the Vancouver Sun. In 2020, she received the Douglas Dale Industry Builder Award from Sim Video and is nominated for the 2021 Indie Screen CMPA Established Producer Award with her producing partner, Christine Habler. Trish regularly mentors emerging filmmakers and producers through Women in the Director's Chair, the CMPA, and Alberta Producer Accelerator. She is committed to elevating female and BIPOC producers, writers, and directors. Trish and I both lived in Alex House from grade 10 to 12 and graduated together in 1988. I always remember her being very smart and a hard worker. Trish is compassionate, focused, and determined. I've enjoyed following her film career and watching her award-winning films, which are both thoughtful and thought-provoking. Most recently, I saw her new film, The New Corporation, the unfortunately necessary sequel, and I definitely recommend it. Please join me in congratulating Trish Dolman, class of 1988, as the recipient of the 2021 Outstanding Old Brentonian Award.
Hello, this is Trish Dolman. Thank you so much for awarding me the Outstanding Old Brentonian Award. Now, I may take objection with the word old, but I am really truly honored and flattered. It really means a lot to me to receive this award from Brentwood. So thank you for Jessica Rotsitas from my grad 1988 class for nominating me, and to the executive for awarding me this award. I also would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to the other award winners. Wade Davis, I'll never forget when Mr. Bunch invited you to speak at our grade 12 English class. It was the first time I had ever heard of ethnobotany, and certainly have admired your work in your field, bringing your unique perspective to the world. And to Sean, who I've never met, what an overachiever. You've had such an impressive career already, securing patents and creating venture capital funds. So congratulations. So receiving this award at this time of my life really means a lot to me. I have a son who's 9 years old, so just almost 10. So we're starting to think about high school and what he might do. And it's given me a great opportunity to think back on my time at Brentwood and reflect on what it really meant to me. And they say hindsight is 20/20, and certainly looking in the rearview mirror, I really appreciate my time at Brentwood. And it's funny, I got a friend passed on an email about this award from a former teacher, and she said, certainly very privileged kids, but they've been able to achieve a lot. And it is a privilege to attend Brentwood, and it was certainly my great privilege. Brentwood, not only the beautiful setting, but for me, the focus on fine arts and sports and academia really provided me with an opportunity to thrive. I had come from a difficult childhood. My parents were divorced. They had a very abusive relationship, sadly, and my father left by the time I was 5, and my mother tragically passed away when I was 8. So it was just me and my siblings, and I was raised by my eldest sister. My life dramatically changed. I went to an all-girls private boarding school, which I really didn't like. So set about finding somewhere else that I could go that really suited me better. And I'm sure glad I found Brentwood, because it really provided me with a structure and a framework where I could thrive. I know that you are all you students are having career day right now and trying to figure out what you're going to do with your lives, where you're going to go to school, what you're going to study. You're at a crossroads of figuring out what you're going to pursue in your life, and maybe even where you're going to live. But I challenge you to set a course determining who the best you will be. How will you create the best version of yourself? Not just what your career might be, because in the end, we all need to find happiness in life. And I think that's something that the pandemic has shown, is that it's really about creating love and happiness in your life. And if you could find something that you're passionate about, that will certainly carry you through difficult times. So I recently, as you know, I work in film and television. I recently watched a documentary about the legendary music producer, Clive Davis. It's on Netflix. And he started out as a lawyer. He got a law degree and became a lawyer, and then was given an opportunity to run a recording division of a big corporation. And through that, discovered this incredible passion for music and talent, innate talent. So it's just a reminder that your passion may be in a place that you don't even know. And if you remain open to it, it may show itself. So I was like you, a student at Brentwood, and I was trying to figure out what to do. I wasn't the best, piano player. I wasn't the best basketball player, but I was pretty good at a lot of things, and I was a very strong student. So I knew I needed to pick something that encompassed my interest in the arts and English. And I knew that was going to be media. But it wasn't until I got to McGill University and I had this extraordinary professor who showed us a film and really showed me the power of screen-based media to influence people's hearts and minds. And I realized that if I became a filmmaker and I made film and television, that I could reach people, that I could create social change, even if it was to place people in another character's shoes or see the world in slightly a different way. So my career has been dedicated to creating film and television that changes the conversation, no matter how subtle, and sometimes through overtly political documentaries. But even like I told you about the Clive Davis documentary, there's an opportunity through film and television to get an insight into someone else's life that may be life-changing or just may alter the way you think about things. So I just wanted to say thanks again, and that I feel incredibly privileged to be able to do what I love. And I wish for you that you find the same thing in your life. So it's just a reminder to stay open to what life presents you, because you just don't know where you're going to find your passion, and to set a course to determine how you're going to become the best you possible. So thank you again for this wonderful award, and best of luck to all the students on their future path. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica, and congratulations, Trish. And now for our third and final presenter who, as a wee lad, grew up on our Brentwood campus and has seen the evolution of our campus firsthand. He is a Whittle House man from the class of 1980 and our star geography teacher, the one and only Mr. Brian Carr.
Old Brentonians, future Brentonians, friends, and family, it is my honor to present this award to Old Brentonian Wade Davis. Before I tell you about Wade's career after Brentwood, I think it is important to share with you his accomplishments while at the school. 3 years at Brentwood, member of Privet House, head prefect, captain of the debate team, member of the Dram and Flying Clubs, member of the Second 15. He graduated in 1971, 50 years ago, and just 1 year before Brentwood became a co-ed school. I'll share with you an excerpt from David Mackenzie's headmaster's report from the 1971 yearbook. Our head prefect, Wade Davis, made application to Princeton, Harvard, Brown, and Williams, was accepted at all four, and will commence his undergraduate studies in September 1971 at Harvard University, where he was named a freshman scholar, one of 90 so named from the freshman class of 1,200 students. Wade was the captain of the debating team, and with his partner Graham Vink, won the Hammerschlold Trophy for British Columbia high schools, going on to lead the provincial team at the national finals in Toronto. At the finals, he received an award for the best non-finalist debater from British Columbia. He was Brentwood's History Book Prize winner and winner of the Butchart Trophy, recognizing the top academic student in the senior school. If you think that's impressive, here's what Wade has accomplished since leaving the shores of Mill Bay. He is a professor of anthropology and the BC Leadership Chair in Cultures and Ecosystems at Risk at the University of British Columbia. Between 2000 and 2013, he served as Explorer in Residence at the National Geographic Society. Named by the National Geographic Society as one of the explorers for millennium, he has been described as a rare combination of scientist, scholar, poet, and passionate defender of all of life's diversity. An ethnographer, writer, photographer, and filmmaker, Davis holds degrees in anthropology and biology and received his PhD in ethnobotany, all from Harvard University. Through the Harvard Botanical Museum, he spent 3 years in the Amazon and Andes as a plant explorer, living among 15 indigenous groups in 8 Latin American nations, while making some 6,000 botanical collections. His work later took him to Haiti to investigate folk preparations implicated in the creation of zombies, an assignment that led to his writing The Serpent and the Rainbow in 1986. an international bestseller later released by Universal as a motion picture. In recent years, his work has taken him to East Africa, Borneo, Nepal, Peru, Polynesia, Tibet, Mali, Benin, Togo, New Guinea, Australia, Colombia, Vanuatu, Mongolia, and the high Arctic of Nunavut and Greenland. The author of 23 books, including One River, The Wayfinders, and Into the Silence, winner of the 2012 Samuel Johnson Prize, the top nonfiction prize in the English language. His many film credits include Light at the Edge of the World, an 8-hour documentary series written and produced for the National Geographic Society. A professional speaker for 30 years, Davis has lectured at over 200 universities and 250 corporations and professional associations. In 2009, he delivered the CBC Massey Lectures. He has spoken from the main stage at TED 5 times, and his 3 posted talks have been viewed by 7 million. His books have appeared in 20 languages and sold approximately 1 million copies. Davis, one of 20 honorary members of the Explorers Club, is honorary vice president of the Royal Canadian Geographical Society and recipient of 12 honorary degrees, as well as the 2009 gold medal from the Royal Canadian Geographical Society, the 2011 Explorers Medal, the 2012 David Fairchild Medal for Botanical Exploration, the 2015 Centennial Medal of Harvard University, the 2017 Roy Chapman Andrews Society's Distinguished Explorer Award, the 2017 Sir Christopher Ondaatje Medal for Exploration, and the 2018 Mungo Park Medal from the Royal Scottish Geographical Society. In 2016, he was made a member of the Order of Canada, and in 2018, he became an honorary citizen of Colombia. Please join me in congratulating Wade Davis, class of 1971, as the recipient of the 2021 Old Brentonian Lifetime Achievement Award. Thank you.
Well, hello, it's wonderful to be with you, and I'm so sorry we can't be together at this award ceremony, but it means so much to me to have been given this Lifetime Achievement Award from the entire Brentwood community. I share it really with all of my peers in my class at Brentwood and all the masters there who did so much for me. You know, I can honestly say that Brentwood saved my life, and that's not hyperbole. I went to a kind of posh school in Montreal, another private school, and from grade 7 to grade 10, and my grade point average dropped from 90 to 80 to 70 to 60, and mercifully at that point my parents moved west, and I was given a choice between Brentwood and Shawnigan Lake, where my father had gone. And I remember we stopped first for the interview at Brentwood, and I walked into the office of the irrepressible Gil Bunch, and I took one look at him, listened to one word that came out of his mouth, was completely captivated by this charisma of this man. And I walked out of that interview, got into the car with my father, and said, "Dad, there's not really any point to go up the road to Shawnigan. I'm going here." And I did go to Brentwood. I was there just for 2 years. I was lucky enough to be named the head prefect in my second year. But what I really remember above all was the quality and the dedication of the teachers. And this is something we can look back on, that founding class at Brentwood, the original teachers that David Mackenzie brought together, so many of whom would devote their entire careers to the school. Tony Carr, Bill Ross, Mr. Laroni, Nick Prowse, and of course Gil Bunch, and so many more, including David Mackenzie himself. And the two teachers that particularly touched me, of course, were Nick Prowse and Gil Bunch. I make my career virtually as a public speaker. It all began at Brentwood because Mr. Bunch put a podium on stage, would put you left to right, and from the back of the hall yell a word at you, a noun, and you had to walk to the podium and give a 5-minute speech without a single or r. If not, you had to do it all over again. You learned to speak off the cuff, to have your mind where your mouth wasn't, formulating your next thoughts. You became, in effect, a storyteller. And of course, he taught you that public speaking is a performance. Everything about him was dramatic. He was the epitome of the drama, king and queen, I can only say. What a beautiful man he was. So charismatic. And Nick Prouse, I remember the first time I studied history with him, he could recite the entire fur trade itinerary from Lachine in Montreal all the way to the far north Athabascan country. But it was on the rugby field that he really shone, as you all remember. And I remember years later, after I had left university, middle of university really, and I was hired by a British journalist to guide him across the notorious Darien Gap, 250 miles of swamp and rainforest that separated Panama from Colombia. And it was a horrendous passage in the rainy season, said to be undoable. Before we started into the swamps, a little old lady said to me, "Gringuito, your hair is blonde, your eyes are blue, your skin is bronze. Too bad everything will be yellow by the time you get to Panama." At one point we were lost in the forest with 3 Kuna Indians for 12 days with no food. And Sebastian Snow, the journalist, kept being almost bewildered by the fact that none of this seemed to bother me. And of course the answer is that I had played rugby for Nick Prouse. After that experience, what was 300 miles of swamp and rainforest compared to that? Well, this is a great gift of Brentwood, the inspiration that it fires the heart of a young man, gives a young man or woman a sense of what can be. And to the young people, the students at Brentwood, I would say this: life is not linear. It's made up of these serendipitous moments that you cannot anticipate. You have to cultivate an inner compass so that when you come to one of those crossroads, you're not looking to your peers, your family, or even your teachers. You're looking within so that you own all those decisions. Become an opportunist. Put your way, not as a schemer, but put yourself in the way of opportunities such that there's no choice but success. And suddenly you find yourself achieving things that were beyond your imagination a few short years before. Always remember that despair is an insult to the imagination. Pessimism is an indulgence. Orthodoxy is the enemy of invention. Do what needs to be done, and only then ask whether it was possible or permissible. And above all, remember what Jim Whittaker said, the first American to summit Everest. If you're not living on the edge when you're young, you're taking up too much space. And above all, be patient. It takes time for any young person to formulate that which has never existed before, the full wonder of a complex human life. Don't get distracted by the temptations of the here and now. Keep your eye on the prize. And the prize is a full and a complete life. The most greatest creative challenge of your life is to become the architect of that life. So above all, be patient, do not compromise, and give your destiny time to find you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian, and a huge congratulations to you, Wade, our Lifetime Achievement Award recipient for 2021. Sean, Trish, and Wade span generations of students that pass through these gates and represent the core of Brentwood. Driven to achieve and driven to serve. They are both well-rounded and well-grounded. And their fierce sense of humility is in every action they take. Now, they have passed the torch to you, today's students. It's your turn to hold it high. Thank you for sharing this experience with us. Di Manu in Manum.